Conditional statements in Python allow the program to make decisions based on certain conditions. The main keywords used are if, elif, and else, which help execute different blocks of code depending on whether a condition is true or false. These statements make programs dynamic by allowing different outcomes based on the input or situation.
I want to talk about if statements. First, we define a variable age with a value of 18. Using the if statement, we check if age is greater than or equal to 18. If the condition is true, the indented block of code runs, printing you are eligible to vote. Let's run the code. As age was 18 and it was greater than or equal to 18, you are eligible to vote. Moving on to the next code. I want to talk about if-else statements. We want to handle both the true and false cases of a condition, and this is where we use these statements. First, we define a variable age with a value of 16. Using the if statement, we check if age is greater than or equal to 18. And if the condition is true, the code inside the if block runs, printing you are eligible to vote. If the condition is false, the code inside the else block runs, printing you are not eligible to vote. Now let's run the code and see the results. You are eligible to vote. Let's move on to the next piece of code. We want to combine if, else if, and else. And else if in Python is shortened to elif. We define a variable called a score with the value of 85. Using an if statement, we first check if the score is greater than or equal to 90 and print grade A if true. If the first condition is false, we move to the elif condition, checking if the score is greater than or equal to 80 and printing grade B if true. Additional elif statements handle other ranges like grades C and F, and if none of the conditions are true, the else block runs, printing grade S. Let's run the code now. And this is it. The grade is B. Now I want to talk about nested if statements. We use them to handle more specific conditions. We will be introduced to these things in the next piece of code. So, here first we define a variable age with a value of 20 and has ID as true. Using the first if statement, we check if age is greater than or equal to 18. Inside this block, we use another if to check if the person has an ID, and if both conditions are true, we print you can enter the club. But if the person is old enough but lacks an ID, the inner else block runs, printing you need an ID to enter the club. If the age condition is false, then what happens? The outer else block runs, printing you are not old enough to enter the club. Let's run the code now. And this is it, you are old enough. Let's move on. I want to write a program to classify a person based on age and employment status. First, I define two variables. Age is 25 and is employed as true. Using the if statements, we check if age is greater than 18 and is employed is true, and print you are an employed adult. If the first condition is false, we use the elif to check if age is greater than 18 and is employed is false. And print you are an unemployed adult. If neither condition is true, the else block runs, printing you are not an adult yet. Let's run the code, and the results make sense. Okay, let's move on. I want to tell you about if statements with input. Here, first we use the input function to prompt the user to enter their name, and then we store that name in a variable called name. As you see, this is how I get the name. I get a prompt, enter your name, and then the user should enter their name. So, after this, using the if statement, we check if name contains any value, and if true, we print a greeting message using the name. But if the user provides no input, the else block runs, printing you didn't enter a name. Let's run the code. I typed the name Alice, and it says hello Alice.